Listen, I'm just trying to figure out if I have time to go grab my pickle chips that I forgot to bring in here before the podcast starts.
How high are you currently on the level?
Straws in the other room.
Level 1 to 10, how high are you?
I'm like a 3. Where did I leave my weed vape? Maybe I'm higher than a 3.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week for... Did you say hi while I was doing the intro?
I said hello, so I said hi. I wanted to be polite.
This week is technically The Rise of Skywalker. I say technically because we ain't going to talk about it for long, because this week we go over the Duel of the Fates script.
Woo!
Ben, how was your watch?
It was surprisingly enjoyable.
Well, you had your roommate who had never seen it watch it.
Exactly. I have my roommate who has seen, like, the prequel movies watch it with me. That's all she's seen. So, like, I come home, and I'm doing my watches on Thursday now, so, like, it's fresh in my head for Friday. And, she's like, you want to watch this shitty movie with me? And I was like, I would, but it's Star Wars night today. She was like, oh yeah, I forgot. She just sat there as I started putting the movie on. I'm like, are you sure about this? It's like, what do you mean? I'm like, if there's a Star Wars movie you want to watch, it's not this one.
Can I ask a very important question that
Yes.
really puts the perspective on this story? Has your roommate seen a single other Star Wars movie before?
The prequel trilogy.
And I think she watched Return of the Jedi with you.
She saw, like, snippets of some of the movies with me, but not, like, sat down and watched them.
Incredible. What a watch order.
And, as soon as
1, 2,
Rey
3,
shows up,
9.
while Rey's sitting there, like, cross-legged, levitating with all the rocks around her, the first comment is, well, that's extra.
Everything JJ does in this movie is just the Force on crack.
So I'm talking...
He had to really hammer home, like, getting all of Ryan Johnson's, like, metaphysical, downplaying of the Force. It was like, no, the Force ghost of Luke Skywalker is literally gonna force X-Wing. Suck it, nerds.
Suck it, nerds. Yeah, so my watch was good. There was commentary with it, and every time she's like, I could stop talking if you want. I'm like, this is the only thing getting me through this movie right fucking now.
Did she like it?
No. I didn't get, like, final thoughts from her, but it read as, well, that's a thing that happened to me.
My dad actually watched Rise of Skywalker for the first time 2 weeks ago when we were watching Force Awakens.
Oh, jeez.
He bummed your Disney Plus account for that. I mean, I'm definitely paying the best $7.99 in the biz for Disney Plus.
Disney, don't sue me.
Disney, we're not sharing accounts.
No.
It's not a thing anyone would even think of doing, Disney.
No. He kept saying...
Anyone else hear helicopters?
He kept saying after he watched it, it's a very good movie except for the plot. And I was like, so it's a bad movie? He's like, no, he kept saying, no, it's visually interesting.
Just high enough where that actually makes total sense to me. I get it.
Yeah, sure.
Really
It makes
feel
total sense to me. Because it was his nice way of saying, it's a bad movie, but I didn't mind watching it. Which makes sense.
I mean,
Chris.
as much as I hate this movie, there's a lot of things I would rather, like, not be watching. So I guess I agree with the sentiment there. It's like, yeah, it's a bad movie, but I could be watching.
We have to compile lists of things we'd rather be doing than watching whatever movie we're watching that week.
If I didn't watch Rise of Skywalker once every 9 weeks forever, I would watch Rise of Skywalker fine. It's a good turn off your brain movie.
They would maybe finally have watched Mandalorian by now if we didn't watch Star Wars.
I would have watched a lot of Star Wars stuff. My watch. So because we were going to do the Trevorrow script today, I decided to bring my TV into the Star Wars Every Week Forever office, since we keep calling it that, and just play it while I worked on podcast stuff. That didn't even make it better because I had to watch it just enough to just be like, I know what this could have been now, and boy, am I not happy about it.
A rough watch after having read that script.
I got one little nitpick to get out of the way about Rise of Skywalker before we ignore it for the rest of the show. The thing that caught me about the Rise of Skywalker watch this time was, compared to the script that we got to read, it amazes me that Rey is never treated like an adult in any of the 3 movies that came out. She is treated like a very small child and written like a very small child the entire time. There is never a moment where she is allowed to be an adult or be anything less than someone else's trainee throughout the entirety of these 3 movies. And that really, really captured it for me. There's never a Luke shows up at Jabba's palace moment for Rey. There's never a beginning of Revenge of the Sith for Rey.
Where Rey did get that, though.
The Trevorrow script. I don't know where to begin here because it has been about a week since I read it. I did not get the chance to read it today, and by did not get, I mean I was preoccupied with things that are very unimportant.
Priorities.
But I have many, many notes that we'll try to go over here today. Should we just go over the plot, the basic plot, or should we just start randomly spouting factoids?
I would say we should avoid going through the whole plot. I think we should really just kind of puke out some factoids here, just on the off chance someone wants to read the script, because this is a good read.
Also, I feel like the former would make us more organized, and the latter would leave me reeling in confusion, and I think the latter would be more entertaining.
What are we here, like a well thought out and structured podcast?
Okay. I'll just throw in something that I really
This is
love.
a fun game. Ben, if at any point throughout this entire night, just this whole episode, this is how we're gonna play this. If something we say you think is a lie, call us out on it, because we're gonna throw in some random shit that's totally not in this script.
Oh my god, we're gonna do
No, I don't want
2 truths and a lie.
Okay, instead of
Trevorrow
that,
cut edition.
Instead of that, you and me, Chris, let's right now come up with 2 truths and a lie and let him guess what the lie is.
Oh fuck.
No. And then we can talk about the script in actual factoid.
And then we'll launch into the full nitty-gritty.
Really
if
good.
someone has not read the script, doesn't plan to read the script, but just wants to hear the episode called the Trevorrow Cut, they're gonna be so mad if we.
That's true. That's a fair point.
If one of the 3 people who listen to this.
Alright, I got it. Which of these 3 statements is untrue? Number 1, Kylo Ren duels Darth Vader. Number 2, Darth Plagueis is in this movie. Number 3, Rey has the Harry Potter scene from the Deathly Hallows in the White Room with Luke.
It's really good. It's all really good.
Oh, I have my answer, but I have no confidence in it. Oh.
Give me it.
Wait. Give me one more rundown.
All right. The choices are Kylo Ren duels Darth Vader. Darth Plagueis is in this movie, and Rey has the Harry Potter scene from Deathly Hallows in the White Room with Luke. You know what scene I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, at the very end. Oh, it's gotta be 2 or 3, so I'm gonna go with 3.
The Rey has the Harry Potter scene?
Yeah.
That's the lie?
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. That happens in this script.
Oh my god.
At
It
the
was
end of this-
Plagueis? Or was it Darth Vader?
The lie was that Darth Plagueis is in the movie.
Okay.
However, Darth Plagueis' master is in the movie.
Tenebris?
But no, they rewrote
They
that whole thing.
retconned it.
But I think you'll like the retcon. We'll get into it later. But no, Kylo Ren does duel Darth Vader in this movie. And Rey does have the Harry Potter scene that Harry Potter has with Dumbledore at the end of Deathly Hallows in this movie.
Is there a little shriveled up Voldemort involved?
No, but there's a little shriveled up Yoda, so. Chris, you got anything?
Mitch has Horcruxes.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta write this. Minch has Horcruxes. Wow, it's just a fantastic thing that just got said. Wow, I had something and it's over there now. I need it.
Yeah, no. Kylo Ren. So let me find it real quick. I think
Kedavra.
I'll explain both the Plagueis and the Darth Vader duel thing at once. So in the script, Kyle is kind of haunted by Luke while seeking like the knowledge of the Sith before him. He goes to Mustafar and he finds inside of Vader's old castle this old message that was meant for Vader after they got Luke. The message is for Vader to bring Luke to a place to train Luke if they turned him to the dark side. So essentially, in the message, Palpatine asks Vader to bring him to the man that trained his master, which is a man called, where is it in my notes? Because it's important, because I think it's a canon thing you would recognize. Torvalum, Torvalum, and Torvalum would teach Luke, or in this case Kylo Ren, the power of Mortis. Ben's eyes just opened in recognition. Yes, that is exactly the direction this went. So Kylo Ren later in the script goes to the planet where this guy is. And this guy is like this crazy alien dude, and he's not Sith.
I recognize this guy from people I've seen covering the cut stuff from the Trevorrow cut. I'm on a wiki called Unpublished Villains Wiki. There's a section in the little, like, you know how they all have like the image and like little like tidbits like allies, organizations. The one just says hobby, training his apprentices.
So he goes to meet with this Torvalum guy, which is like a super alien dude, to become a Mortis god, which I think, and I could be wrong because I haven't seen Clone Wars or Rebels, but I think it's a reference to the weird thing they did with like the two thrones, because at the end of the script, this comes back up and they go to this place, but it's the two thrones with the person that represents light and the person that represents dark, and they're
Mortis was an arc in the Clone Wars where they borrowed heavily from I forget what it was from Legends, but there was the father who was like the embodiment of the balance. Right. And then the daughter, who was the embodiment of the light, and the son, who was the embodiment of the dark. Which is weird, because the balance is supposed to be light, but, you know, fucking Star Wars logic.
That's where they pull this from. The entire point is for the end of the movie with Rey and Kylo happens there in the abandoned halls of Mortis.
Huh.
But Kylo's kind of trained by him, and this guy teaches Kylo how to actually pull life out of people, like literally until they are dead. And then there's a scene where Kylo senses, much like Dagobah, a a dark place, and the guy says, "Go on in there," and he goes on in there, and inside he meets duels Darth Vader, and then he gets pretty hurt. Oh, and I forgot to mention, he gets baned. Kylo Ren gets baned in this. So after the Palpatine holocron, he gets withered to shit, like it a la Bane, and has to put back on the mask, and he's reliant on the mask, and that's why he learned to take the life out of things, because it would help sustain his life. So he got baned.
Yeah, he's like Bane when he discovered the fucking Orbalisks armor fucking things.
Right.
God
Exactly.
damn it.
It works out. I like that part of the script. It works out pretty well. I'll explain the end later. But you got anything, Chris?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
This will lead into, I think, two things that Jay was very excited to talk about. Or, well, one thing I know Jay was definitely very excited to talk about. So here are your three options. One of these is a lie. Rey and Poe have a romantic arc. Revan is name dropped. And C-3PO just murders someone in cold blood.
I can't.
Very good.
I
Very
can't. That is bait. That is the biggest bait I've seen on this podcast.
Do you need him again?
Yeah.
Okay, here are your three options. One of these is a lie, and two of these things actually happen in the Colin Trevorrow cut of this movie. Rey and Poe have a romance arc. Revan is name dropped, and C-3PO straight up kills someone in cold blood.
Part of me wants it to be bait because another part of me so badly wants it to be true. I'm going with number one, the romantic arc between Rey and Poe.
That's the lie?
Yeah.
That is 100% in this movie.
It is, and that is the one part of the script. There's a few things I didn't like. That's the thing I hated most.
Granted, I didn't read it, but that just sounds ham-fisted.
It's ham-fisted.
It's ham-fisted the movie. I mean,
So what I learned about myself while I was reading the script is that I don't like any Rey relationship possibilities except like maybe Finn kind of that could have happened. But considering it's Poe, who she only met at the end of Last Jedi, it was totally just like bullshit.
Oh yeah.
But which one was the lie, Chris?
yeah. We'll whittle these down. Do you want to
Guess out of the other two?
Do you want to guess out of the other two?
I'm gonna be upset either way at this point. You've set me up for disappointment, Chris.
Revan was unfortunately not name dropped in this movie.
Okay,
Revan
you know
was
what?
not
That's
name
that's
dropped,
that's the
but
better
C-3PO
timeline.
ganked
But
the guy.
That's the
C-
better timeline.
But C-3PO does commit a vicious murder.
I'm stopping everything because I'm going to read. I want to give a shout out to Andrew Weingarner, who literally made a comic of this entire script.
Oh,
I didn't read the full comic, but I read the script, and then I went back specifically to find this part of the script. So, do you want to explain it, Chris, or should I?
You go for it. You've probably got this. I know you were very excited about this. So.
I was so excited. So there's a part of the movie at the end where there's an uprising on Coruscant that Finn is leading, where R2-D2 and C-3PO, who get a lot of screen time together. BB-8 not so much. R2-D2 and C-3PO, a lot of screen time.
Oh yeah.
Well, BB-8 has a big part. It's just he doesn't get a lot of screen time.
Who doesn't have a part in this movie? That other annoying ass little droid.
Dio.
I don't know. In the past, you've defended Dio pretty hard, Chris.
Have I?
Yeah.
I defend that little fuck.
I believe you called him
Oh, the consent droid.
Consent Droid.
Yeah,
You're
you
very
did.
defensive of Consent Droid, which fair.
I must have been really just enthralled in Disney's like merch shit at that point.
Yeah, that was just the last time we watched this movie.
Star Wars merch.
Anyway, so what happens is C-3PO and R2-D2 are in the middle of the battlefield, and R2-D2, who is such a wonderful little shit in this entire script, sees an Imperial BB-8 droid on the battlefield, and says to C-3PO that 3PO should help kill this BB-8 droid. So 3PO is like, you want me to help stop him? I'm not programmed for violence. So R2-D2 beeps at him a bunch, and then C-3PO steals himself. He hustles over to the BB-8 droid, reaches his hand into the part of the BB-8 droid that it has open so he can work on a piece of machinery, and says, I do apologize for this, and pulls out the innards of the droid. C-3PO says, please go quietly.
It's such a horrific scene.
Straight up does the shh. Don't worry, it's almost over.
My favorite part is like the please go quietly comment, and then after it, as R2-D2 kind of plugs in to get like a turret working, C-3PO just kind of like stares off into the distance and says, I've done horrible things. I may never be the same. It was the funniest part of the script by a country mile.
God.
It was so good. I messaged Chris the comic pages because I had to just go and find those two pages immediately after I finished the script.
I read this fucking script on Thanksgiving after I smoked a 1.5 grams joint. I bought a pre-roll for Thanksgiving, got super high, read this script, and I got to that part, and I think I lost like 20 minutes. I was laughing so hard. Because
it would have been.
It sneaks up on you, and it's just the best.
It would have been the funniest joke that any Star Wars movie has ever made. Yeah,
it really
no, that was
C-3PO at C-3PO's absolute best. You know, just.
I want to mention for our podcast listeners and our YouTube listeners, since we don't show video, I was cracking up so hard when Chris brought this back up that I had to turn off my camera so that I didn't tip Ben off as to what the real one was, because I was laughing so hard, because it's my favorite part of the script. The script is good. I like the script. I think you said the same thing pretty much, Chris.
Yeah. The only thing I'm not really a huge fan of in this script is like weird Sith vampire Kylo Ren, you know, like that's really the only part of the script I'm not a big fan of.
I liked that part of the script. But
I like Kylo being like an overly ambitious dick, which he is in this movie. He's just straight up the villain of this movie, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like the weird absorbing force power. He
does like a straight up Darth Nihilus, like just sucks the force energy from people.
Yeah, in order to preserve himself because he's dying.
Yeah, they make him a Sith vampire.
They're lucky that they put the really ham-fisted, unnecessary Darth Vader versus Kylo Ren duel into the movie, because this would have been yet another sequel movie that doesn't have a proper lightsaber battle otherwise.
Well, there's at least the beginning part where Rey actually gets to show off her own lightsaber. Rey was going to have a double-bladed lightsaber, goddammit.
Yes,
like she probably would have.
Would have been built out of Luke's lightsaber and her bow staff, which just makes perfect sense. It's a combination of the two so that it fits her very well. Very well done. So, you know, she came through as an adult. Also, Rose Tico is a fucking badass in this fucking script. Rose Tico at the very beginning of the fucking script is on Kuwait, whichever. We literally were on this planet in our Star Wars game, and I still continue to mispronounce it as Kuwait. She's undercover in what is essentially a slave camp at the beginning of the movie for like 2 weeks, and she's such a badass. At the end of the movie, she's a badass because what could have ended like their chance of retaking Coruscant, which at the end of the movie is the Mortis stuff with Kylo and Rey, and then the taking of Coruscant.
I will say, to defend the not really having a lightsaber duel, the duel that Rey and Kylo have at the end of the script is, the way it's described, sounds like it would have been incredible.
It's weird.
Like, it is a weird kind of back and forth scene, but like some of like the actual like fighting in there, I think could have been really good.
The imagery, I think, a lot like 1,000 times better, but a lot like the Rise of Skywalker Death Star duel would have been cool. But I don't know if I would have liked the lightsaber duel itself. Should I just talk about the big injury at this point, or should
I was just about to say we should talk about Rey becoming Daredevil.
Yeah, Rey gets blinded in this script. So
Rey basically becomes, and I'm gonna get this wrong, and other nerds are gonna get mad at me, the G.I. Joe character, I believe Jinx was her name, who has like the bandana around her eyes, and she was one of Snake Eyes' apprentices. Basically like that, just blind fucking.
So she loses the duel with Kylo because Kylo had essentially absorbed a ancient god Sith guy after that Darth Vader duel.
Yeah. Kylo's going
the guy wasn't
like Cell from Dragon Ball Z at this point. Like he's just absorbing
just
other
absorbing
motherfuckers.
Everyone.
Yeah. Running around like Kirby and shit.
And they get into a duel, and Kylo blinds her, and she falls off of a cliff. What?
They do the same thing that happened to Kanan in Rebels. Like, this is literally exactly what happens to the one guy in Rebels.
Yeah, but it might have been taken from the script.
No, because Rebels was out way before this script.
This script,
I mean,
hold on.
This whole thing with the script was written in 2016.
Yes, that's the thing. And Rebels ended in 2018. Well, no, but that would have been way before. That would have been like 2015 when in Rebels, right?
It was the end of season. It was the finale of season 2. So
time's close.
I will say honestly, the imagery of that whole end scene is very reminiscent of what was going on with Kanan and them during Rebels at the time. Like that fight was, because Ben, am I remembering this? That's when they were at like that.
Yeah,
they were on Malachor.
Yeah, they were in like the that like Jedi temple, and there was like the
there's like a Sith temple, and the Inquisitors are there, and Vader shows up, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. This Colin Trevorrow had to have been communicating with
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, he had to be communicating with Dave Filoni so fucking much because there's so many even for me who was barely watching shows. There's a lot of Dave Filoni mentions in this script.
Well, that's like because I guarantee those two were working really close with each other, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then JJ comes in, they sweep everything off the rug, and Filoni like calls him up. He's like, "Hey JJ, so all right, I hear you're rewriting the script. I'm here." It's like, and JJ's like, "I'm sorry, who are you? Who is this? I don't have time for this. I just refuse to take his calls probably." And then someone finally at the end was like, "Listen, Dave is really mad," and he's like, "Fine, I'll put like a ship or something in the end of the movie, whatever."
Trevorrow is. I never thought I would say this, but Trevorrow comes off as such a Star Wars nerd in this fucking script. There's a point, Lando comes back at one point, and he's flying the fucking Lady Luck, his old ship from the EU.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, that's such a strange deep cut, Colin Trevorrow.
It's
And
such
that's
a
like
good.
if you haven't like read the Thrawn trilogy or any of that shit, you would have no idea.
Great movie. Would
But
have been
yeah,
such a good movie.
Rey gets blinded, and then she kind of comes. Luke. They do this thing that's a lot like what they do in Rise of Skywalker, but much, much better. Where Luke, who appears a couple times in the movie or in the script,
Well, he's literally haunting Kylo. That's one of the best
yes.
parts of the script for me.
So-
Is he's haunting Kylo.
When you guys say haunting Kylo, I just imagine straight up not Luke, Mark Hamill just walking around going ooh.
No, it's Luke occasionally popping up and being a dick to Kylo. I mean, rightfully so, but it's him like just really fucking needling him. It's great.
Needling. He also kind of needles Rey. There's a point in the script where he comes back and he's training Rey, and Rey has the reasonable response in this script to Last Jedi, which is, "Fuck you, man. You weren't there when I needed you, and now you're dead telling me what I should or shouldn't do. Fuck off." But no, the way the movie ends is Rey. Luke kind of distracts Kylo and allows Rey to like channel the Force, the Jedi, but also kind of the battling spirit, I guess, of her friends that are fighting for Coruscant, and she becomes something more than herself. Something that's not Jedi or Sith or light or dark, but something that represents the balance for a short period of time. And she comes back and duels Kylo. And Kylo loses. But in that last moment, forget how it plays out, but it's kind of like Rey gets distracted for a moment. And Kylo pulls all of the power out of her. And it's really ham-fisted at this point. It's kind of like a real weak part of the script.
Yep.
Because all of that imagery was really fucking great. It was so good. So as Kylo's kind of pulling the life out of Rey, Leia kind of like whispers to him through the Force, and that's all it takes for him to just be like, wait a minute, this is wrong, and just put the Force power back into her, and then them do the same, holding each other die, but no kiss. The script says...
I think there had to have been a directive from Disney that they had to redeem Kylo by the end of the movie. That's like the only thing that I can think of, because like this script...
Well, because they wanted him to be the new like Darth Vader. Like,
well, yeah.
Right.
This script was perfect if they just didn't do that last little bit.
Yeah.
That would have been the one thing in the movie that pissed me off. Because, like, Disney can't even do this with the fucking Marvel movies, man. Just keep your villains villains. You don't need to redeem every single villain.
I would have been fine with it because they don't fucking kiss. I knew that they were going to try to redeem Kylo. Just the less ham-fisted it was, the better. And this is a quick thing. Like, I would have been like, well, why didn't Leia just say, hey, stop it, way earlier on? That would have saved the galaxy, but no. But they don't kiss. The script says Kylo looks at her in a way that can be construed as love and then dies. So I'm like, okay, that's not very, like you can walk out of the movie like, no, they weren't fucking a couple. That's bullshit. But then the power it took for her to channel that causes her to go to the Harry Potter land where Yoda and Obi-Wan and Luke kind of look on to her and say, you got a choice now.
Not Anakin. Very important to note, not Anakin for some fucking reason, because he's just absentee father.
We had to... You mean Death After Darth?
Death After Darth,
our new show?
Yep.
Our new show, Death After Darth?
Yeah.
They say, you got a choice. You can come here and you can be above it all and you can kind of bring that energy of balance to us and we can work with you, or you can go back to the world and it's going to be tough and it's going to suck at times, but you can try to build what you want. And they don't have her answer right away, but at the end of the script, she does eventually come back.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they do it in a really weird way where like, okay, well, how long was Rey dead for? Because it's unclear.
It seems like quite a while.
Yeah.
It seems like at least 6 months, if not more.
Because because Finn and Rose retired off together and have opened up Xavier's school for gifted forcelings.
Yeah, before we do that, let's talk about Finn and Rose in the script. Because I thought this was really well done. No. Finn is not force sensitive in this. He's just not. He's just not. It's never referenced again. It's not. But I really like the way Finn was handled in this script.
He was handled much better. It was exactly what they tried to do with Rise of Skywalker in like 3 scenes.
So
subplot justice.
You want to take or should I?
Yeah. So they I think Jay said already. I mean, Finn ends up leading the uprising of Coruscant in this movie, and you get to see a lot of him actually talking and connecting to like the First Order soldiers and like jogging their memories and like, look, you're better than this. You don't have to be this. They can. And yeah, like you get to see.
So he does a lot of stuff to like deprogram.
Yeah, you get to see the First Order people actually turning. They don't just find an enclave of friendly former. It's not easy. Like he actually has to work for convince people.
We also happened to not shoot in his
Yeah.
Now, it's even harder for him because the stormtroopers that do revel are by and large FN stormtroopers, like him.
Yeah, I mean it was great, and I mean they still get to do their death fake out with Rose, because there is a Rose death fake out, so you still get your big dramatic Episode 9 death fake out. It's just not Chewbacca this time, thank God.
Rose is so good in this script. Rose is so good.
Fucking script.
So this is a little off topic, but death fake outs lately have been bothering me so much because I know I've mentioned it before. I'm starting to get back into reading through Wheel of Time.
Oh
God, that too. But I'm on the 4th book right now, and there have been so many death fake outs at this point. I go to my friend, I'm like, listen, if there's one more, I swear to God, I'm gonna track the author down and kill him myself.
Well, that might be a little difficult.
Yeah, I know.
Time beat you to it.
Yeah, I know.
The Wheel of Time beat you to it.
The Wheel of Time.
The wheel did not keep up. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And then on top of that, in the same group chat,
Brandon Sanderson's still alive. He technically wrote one. You can go beat up Brandon.
Okay. So also, Jay just reminded me, in this same group chat, I've been going through Metroid a lot lately, and Jay goes, so how many fucking times did they bring Ridley back? And I gave Jay an essay on where Ridley shows up in the timeline, what version of Ridley it is, and if they're actually Ridley or weird clones of Ridley or robots of Ridley. And there's 7 of those motherfuckers.
I thought for at least 5 seconds about sending the I'm not reading all that, but I'm happy for you, or sorry it happened reply to it. But I didn't have the heart.
I wouldn't have been mad. I would not have been mad. I would have appreciated that.
Now, this script is fucking wild. It's so goddamn good.
And also, I'm going to explain if it's cool with you, what happens with Rose, and then we can talk about the way that I don't want to say it because I want to but the thing at the end, the Xavier school thing, we'll get to that right after.
For gifted younglings, yes.
Yeah. So Rose Tico is a badass in this script. The way the script describes her coming back is essentially she's not the woman, because there's an undetermined amount of time, but it's been multiple years between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
So they do a Return of the Jedi Empire kind of thing, where there's a span of time in between them.
Right. It's a longer period than that, I think, though. And Rey and Luke have become almost like actual legends. Like they are the story of what happened that day.
Rey is referred to as the opposition by like the First Order as the Last Jedi. You know, like they say over the radio comms, like the Last Jedi is with them. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
is
tacky,
pretty-
but I'm here for it.
So what the Empire did as a result of the uprisings among the people, like the pushback among the people for was essentially the death of most of the rebellion, most of the resistance, is they disconnect every star system. They literally shut down communications between star systems so that only First Order members can communicate between star systems. So Rose in the Kuwait system, the Kuwait system.
Rose just chilling in the Middle East.
Rose in the Kuwait system essentially infiltrates a slave camp, essentially indentured servitude. People that were so poor that they had to give themselves into indentured servitude in order to get food and water. She infiltrates them and is there for about 2 weeks, allowing Poe, Rey, Finn, and especially BB-8 to kind of get into Kuwait. Rose sets it up so that they can destroy the rings around Kuwait where all the
actual drive yards.
Yes, where all the Star Destroyers are being built because it's fully First Order run now. That does not happen. Things go hokey, but it's not Rose's fault. There's actually, they straight up steal a Star Destroyer. And not just a Star Destroyer, the largest Star Destroyer ever built. The new next-gen version of a Star Destroyer. They just steal that shit, and that shit becomes the new Resistance.
Like First Order equivalent of like the Eclipse from Legends.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is, and it is a very good. It's a very good Poe scene. It's a very good Poe scene.
They take hostage the few people that are on it, and they fly that shit out of the Kuwait yards because BB-8 infiltrated as an Imperial droid. The opening of the movie is BB-8 infiltrating the Kuwait yards as like an Imperial BB-8 unit, and the way they get out is BB-8 is still painted black amongst those yards, and BB-8 does shoots himself out into space so that they can catch and bring BB-8 onto the new. Is pretty great. And also the scene inside of that Super Star Destroyer or whatever it is pretty great. I hate the parts where Poe and like Rey are like needling each other because Poe and Rey's like connection is like they're both very good with starships, and like Poe's really aggressive, like very Han and Leia, except Leia in this case is willing to push back and also way more competent at the starship thing than Poe might actually be. But there's a point in like this entire thing that happens where that I loved, that is the opposite of what happens in Rise of Skywalker, where it is double affirmed that you can't just hit hyperspace, you have to plot it back in, which is the opposite of what happens in the opening of Rise of Skywalker when any mathematics attached with going into hyperspace is just thrown out the fucking window. There's a point where Rose is like, yeah, I can't fucking just jump into hyperspace. Do you want to end up in the middle of a fucking planet or whatever? It essentially goes like that. It's very good. Anyway, Rose goes with Finn to Coruscant, and Poe and Rey go to this planet that Poe knows of, that Poe knew where there is a Force sensitive. It was essentially a place that he was in his younger career, and he knew of like a fortune teller there that he thought could maybe help Rey find Mortis. It's a little like that's a stretch, but it works out pretty well. So Finn and Rose essentially go to Coruscant with one hope in mind. They believe that the old Jedi Temple had a method of communication that dates back to old Republic. That Palpatine might have never shut down because Palpatine wouldn't have known it was there. So they try to get into the Jedi Temple, and they fail terribly. And Rose...
If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember, it's like little bits and pieces of lines, but like, it really made me happy because there was a reference basically to like, well, how would the Jedi have had this tech? And someone basically being like, oh, their tech was so much better back then. The stuff we have now sucks, you know? Like, there's like...
That's essentially what it was. The script like really pushes dude, we've been under dictatorships for 40 years. Absolutely, they were way better at this shit than we are.
That's really interesting.
Really good.
Yeah,
made me very happy.
Because the way Star Wars works in Legends, basically the Cottons build everything, and then they get fucking
Elon Musk, man.
Yeah, they get poofed out of existence, and the galaxy just takes all their stuff and like reverse engineers it, and that's just what happens. Like everything we have in the current Star Wars like current era was what the Rakatans had like fucking 10 vajillion years before.
That might still be true, but they're even talking shorter term in this. They're
no,
talking
I know.
Okay.
They're talking even like, I mean, because I was blown away as a kid. I didn't understand because I hadn't started really reading the EU in earnest. Like, I remember my dad explaining to me when I was playing Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm like, what? Look at all their like shiny armor and these vibro blades and all these different types of blasters. And what's all this? Like, I mean, why is the tech so much more insane? And it being like, well, you know, yeah, they had better tech in the Empire, you know, shutting shit down, outlawing things, and just, you know, shit getting destroyed. You know, it's a rare circumstance in the sci-fi world of the tech actually being better years and years and years ago.
And just stagnation ever since.
So yeah, they go to the Jedi Temple and they fail miserably to get where they need to go. Or do they? I can't remember specifically. It's been a little bit. But the bottom line is Rose and Finn get separated. Finn has to convince an FN stormtrooper to let him go essentially by like knocking him out and then like getting out before he grabs the weapon again. And Rose gets captured. Now, Rose is in the Imperial capital the entire time for the rest of the movie. Rose is tortured, but I don't know if the torture ever happens because there's a point during when it seems like they're leading up to it where she gets her freedom and she kind of manages to get into the ducts of the Imperial city, and she finds out while the uprising is beginning on Coruscant that the entire capital is a ship so that they can fuck off if need be and things go badly. So Rose Tico, while everybody is fighting outside and while Leia's leading a fleet up in the sky with Poe, and we'll get to that in a little bit, Rose Tico essentially goes in. Rose just randomly appears in the middle of the uprising, and Finn's like, how did you get out? I was afraid. And she's like, don't worry about it. They're not getting away. It seemed like they were getting away. It seemed like all hope was lost. And she was like, no, they're not getting away. I've reprogrammed their computers to crash land into a nearby planet. They're fucked. So Rose Tico saves a fucking day and makes sure the Empire can't get away to live another day. Rose Tico is a fucking badass in this script. It is implied throughout the script, although it's never really said for sure, that Rose and Finn are together. They don't say it, but it's just the vibe you get. And at the end of the script, Rose and Finn essentially retire to take care of some Force sensitives that they found. Now here's the thing, and this goes back to Last Jedi and explains the weirdness of Last Jedi. There are a number of kids on Coruscant and kids among these uprisings that have been found that are Force sensitive, including one kid that Finn found and Broom Boy.
I was going to say it's got to be Broom Boy.
Broom Boy comes back at the very end of the script along with the 15-year-old kid that was a part of the rebellion that Finn found. And they kind of like give them a place to live and learn and grow with their force powers there. And at the end of the script, like I guess like 6 months, maybe even a year afterwards, Rey just all of a sudden appears on the distance on that planet, and that's the way the script ends. But yeah,
goes, my name is Finn, and the random old lady is like, Finn who, and he looks in the distance, he's like, Finn Rey. Chris looks so disappointed in me right now.
Finn Rey who? Finn Rey Skywalker.
The third?
Oh. It's a good script. There's things that I don't like, but by the vast majority, I would have been really happy with this. Now, granted, this was written in December 2016. About the final version of this was written in like 2 weeks before Carrie Fisher died. So there are things in this script that would have had to be changed, but I don't think they would have had to change much. Leia is a heavy figure in the script, but she's not heavily featured. Like her handprints are in large parts, and she has several scenes, but they could have been worked around.
They could have modified it.
Yeah. Now we would have lost scenes between Luke and Leia then, and Luke and Leia and Lando.
Yeah.
That Lando scene pissed me off though. It was very Lando, but it pissed me off.
It was way more Lando.
There's a scene where Leia. Also, this script strangely implies that I could have been reading this wrong.
Oh, no.
But it seems there's some casual misogyny in this script. Not in like making the women feel less powerful, but like just like I don't know how to describe it. For example,
like
Leia goes to find
in all these movies.
Yeah.
In the sequel trilogy, surprisingly.
Leia and Lando. Leia goes to find Lando because she wants a fleet to help her go take Coruscant. And she knows Lando pretty much knows every mercenary in the galaxy because that's Lando's thing. And Lando is like, Leia, look, I know I said I'd take care of you after Han passed. And there's like a lot of touching, and there's a point where they like kiss, and maybe it's a friendship kiss, but it doesn't. And it's just kind of like that old thing that's kind of disgusting where it's like, yeah, if I die, my brother, can you marry my wife? That's the impression I got from it. And it's not that bad.
Onan level shit. It's like, fuck.
It's
like
not
biblical
that.
Weird.
Yeah, it's not that. But it gives
That'd be a
off
great
the
title
same
for
vibe.
the episode. That's like biblical weird.
But Lando eventually comes back later in the script. There's also a scene that's very good between Leia and Luke, where Luke is like, I talked to Rey and she's kind of not following the Jedi ways, and Leia's like, dude, she gets it. She's not doing it your way, but did your way really work that well? And Luke is like, you got a point. It's a very good scene. I'm doing it terrible justice, but it's a good scene.
I will say that to kind of like, I don't know, like I feel like this has given us ammo. We're gonna be able to use this script for The Rise of Skywalker for
I got one
many
more thing
more
I have to talk
rotations.
about.
I'm gonna have to.
One more thing I have to talk about.
After this episode, I'm gonna have to sit down and read it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like we'll reference it a lot. Like we'll bring stuff back up and we'll talk about it. But like I would definitely suggest to you, the audience, to read it.
2 more points.
2 more points. Chris, you got any ones that you have to get out today? Because I have 2 that I have to get out.
I do have one question.
Okay.
Where in the script is the pod race? I need to know. Inquiring minds need to know.
Chris, you got any more points you want to get out? Yeah, I see. Chris is face palming. I flipped off Ben. I would have been pissed if I opened the script and there was a pod race in it. I would have been real pissed.
My soul. I would have been so happy. Chris is so done with my shit. Oh my god.
Big vape puff. Big exhale. Rings. All right, we see you.
I like the script a lot, and I'm mad about it. I'm really mad about it. I've been stewing. It makes me so goddamn sad how good this movie is.
There's two more things I got to
stew with rage.
Two more things I got to get out here. One's a small thing, one's a big thing. I thought I knew what Ray's parentage would be when I came into this script, because I thought I heard rumors that said it. No. So Ray's parentage in this script
I was okay with
is totally what Kylo Ren said. Except not, because they legitimately had debts they had to pay, and they had to get rid of her to save her life. And then Kylo Ren murdered the shit out of her parents. Kylo Ren. And by the way, Ben, he was a children.
He was a children.
In this
He
script,
was not a children.
in this script, it is specified that he was a children. It is specifically specified in this script, in this canon, that did not happen, that he wasn't a children.
Yeah, I felt really silly when I read that in the script, and I was like, oh man, people do actually say it like he was a children.
A children.
Man, I
He
guess
is a
Ben was
children.
right. Colin Trevorrow agrees.
No, Ben was vehemently against him being a children.
He wasn't a children, canonically.
Except canonically in the script that we're talking about today, they specify he was 17. Oh, by the way, I this is a small point, but there's flashback scenes, and there is a flashback scene where Harrison Ford would have come back in the script. But it would have been like a younger Harrison Ford.
But Harrison Ford wasn't getting out of this one way or another, apparently.
There is no happy timeline for Harrison Ford.
I really would like to see the moment that like some lawyer had to tell Harrison Ford while like filling out contracts, like, now listen, Mr. Ford, yes, this will be your last featured appearance in a Star Wars film, but this contract gives us the right to bring you back for just a short scene. And we're like, well, how would that work? Well, they've asked me to say, perhaps you'd be a ghost of some sort, and just Harrison Ford's brows just furrowing at this fucking lawyer nerd telling him he has to come back and play a ghost at some point in a fucking Star Wars movie.
I'm convinced that all of these people were already convinced to come back for the Trevorrow script. And then JJ was like, well, we already have Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Billy D. Williams lined up, so... But no, it would have been a flashback scene with Kylo and Han. The other thing I wanted to bring up, there is a scene in this movie that has the most brutal use of force persuasion I have ever witnessed in my fucking life. So the Knights of Ren are given character in this movie. I mean, it's not a lot, but they're people.
They also
with
weirdly
beliefs.
are listed as wielding dark sabers, and like it's very specifically listed as them wielding dark sabers.
The leader wields a dark saber, which I was going to bring up, but there's a lot of things I didn't end up bringing up. The leader is specified as wielding a dark saber.
The leader has assumably the dark saber.
But Kylo is supposed to be the leader of the Knights of Ren, though.
No, not Kylo. It's the leader that took over after Kylo was no longer the leader. It's implied, but not said, that at some point when Kylo became
Grand Emperor of Evil,
whoever was under him took over the Knights. And that person had the dark saber, not Kylo. But there is a duel in the rain. Oh God, there's so many little things. There's several little things where Chewie gets really mad at both Poe and Rey because they keep going to take the pilot seats in the Falcon, and he gets really mad because it's his fucking ship.
Well,
Good.
there's a back and forth that was my favorite exchange where like Poe said something like it's my ship, and Ray was like, no, it's my ship, and Chewie like growls, and the subtitle is like both wrong.
Both are wrong.
Hold on, I have them written down. Let me find them real quick. Because they're both very good. I wrote them down specifically for that. There's a lot of things I didn't bring up. A little series of lines I liked.
That's my seat. And then Chewie being like, both of your.
Ray and Poe instinctively spin into the pilot seats. Chewie doesn't like that. He roars, Poe, I know, your seat. Chewie bangs on the walls. That's his damn chair. Then later, Ray says, let me fly. Poe says, I've got the yoke. My yoke. Ray, my ship. Chewie roars, both wrong. There's also a point where, for some reason, at the end of the script, Poe convinces Chewie to fly an X-Wing while he flies the Millennium Falcon.
Oof.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah. But
It's
anyway.
not a perfect script.
No. Anyway, here's the thing. So, Ray and Poe leaving the planet where they see the person that directs them towards Mortis. Ray has to fight the Knights of Ren. And Ray succeeds, but it looks like Poe is dangerously hurt from her perspective at one point. And he's not, but from her perspective it was that. And that triggers like a realization in her. And they have like this really weird scene where like she goes to force persuade him to leave. And he like holds off, and it's like he's slowly being turned to the force persuade, but because they have a personal connection, the force persuade isn't working immediately. And he's like, please don't. And she's like taking steps forward, repeating herself over and over again. And it's like the most brutal scene. I don't know if it would have come off bad or really great. It would have depended on the acting, but it's compelling in the way it's written. And finally she gets up to him and she like kisses him and then holds her hand over his mouth and says, you will leave with the Millennium Falcon and not return. And he is convinced in that moment to leave. I don't like the Poe-Ray relationship, but that would have either been a really fucking awful or a really goddamn fantastic scene. It's brutal. But that's all I'll talk about. I got nothing left. Chris, you got anything?
Nope. Just a suggestion that if anything we said tonight sounds appealing to you or pissed you off so much that you feel like seeking out the script, you should absolutely read it for yourself. It's very good.
And if you don't want to read the script itself, you can go to awinegarner.squarespace.com/duel-of-the-fates. You can find the link in our YouTube copy. That they have written, they've made an entire comic of the full script. And since we didn't directly mention it, you can find the script online just by Googling Duel of the Fates Colin Trevorrow script. It should be in a Reddit post as soon as you Google it. And also, it will be linked through the YouTube if need be.
I would definitely suggest reading the comic because it's very good. I actually have to read through the entirety of the comic myself still.
I really enjoyed this script. There's things I don't like, but on the vast majority, one, I would have been very happy with the sequel trilogy if this was the movie we got. And two, this podcast wouldn't exist if this was the movie we got, so.
So really, all around, it's the better timeline.
Yeah. I mean, you and Chris wouldn't be as close of friends.
Oh no, because I'm gearing up to start joining your guys' D&D games, so.
That's true.
Ben got very big. Hey Ben, how's that Wikipedia looking? Is it looking pretty weird?
Oh, that's right. Oh god, I have too many tabs that aren't Wikipedia.
Isn't your homepage?
Well, the second tab of my landing page is Wikipedia.
Well,
technically they're both Wikipedia.
They're both Wikipedia.
So I open Google Chrome, and Pod Racing's there, and the second tab is just homepage Wikipedia. Fucking Fnod?
Are you okay?
No,
That's you?
okay,
I'm
put this
sorry
in
for
the
your
right
loss.
Discord.
What happened there? You smell burning toast there, bud? What's going on?
Today on Weird Wikipedia, we got Fnod?
Bond?
Fnod?
Fnod?
James
Fnod?
Fnod?
Fond?
Bond.
Fond?
Yeah, it's definitely Fond, Ben.
Listen,
Bond.
Do you see
James
that end
Fond.
placement?
listen. It was
I mean, it
a
looks kinda
strange
like Bond.
byproduct resulting from rare impurities bonding during the making of certain alloys due to as yet unknown external conditions. Let's make this vague content as vague as possible.
Yeah,
And
this
that's
is
the Old Republic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
it made like fiery lightsaber beams.
Yeah.
yeah, this is the crystals that you get on Dantooine in order to make your lightsaber.
And that's where the rebel base is.
It's also Ben, play Knights of the Old Republic for fuck's sake.
Ben's
You know
gonna
what?
wait until it's remastered, and then neither Jay nor myself is gonna play the remastered Knights of the Old Republic.
I'll play
And
it.
Ben's only gonna want to talk about that, and they're gonna completely change the lore, and we won't know what the fuck is going on.
I'll play it. Actually, I won't. That requires me to do a Star Wars thing. Now that I think about it, I won't.
And you're not gonna play it. Neither am I. I know this. I've made my
We all
peace
know
with
I'm gonna play it no matter what.
having a kid now. I'm not playing shit. I'm just gonna watch Star Wars and keep a kid alive.
You
Good
have
thing we
to
read the script
word
on
it
what we
that
did.
way. You have to word it that way, Chris.
I gotta watch Star Wars and keep a kid alive.
To ensure my spawn doesn't die.
My priorities: watch Star Wars, make sure I keep a kid alive.
Hopefully not in that order.
Not in that order.
That's the way you presented it. That's why I said it that way. Yeah, I hope we're the lesser priority.
That Wikipedia was not
was a
all that
very
weird. Which mercifully so, because it has been a long episode.
No, go ahead, do it.
Do it. We're doing a second.
It's gonna be a long one. This is what happens every time.
No, this is weird. Peace vote.
Peace vote?
Peace vote. Peace vote called the appeasement vote by the
Oh, I know
Trackers.
exactly what this is.
supposed to be Senator Bigby. Oh, this is late in the timeline. 26 ABY. Oh, they were trying to outlaw the
Yeah.
Jedi because of the Yuzong
This is-
Vong, so they could be all like, "Yay, we're all happy now."
If I remember correctly, this was like middle of the Yuzhong Vong War. Yeah. This
Yep.
was
That
a
lines
moment where this was. I've never read this novel. It's one of the few New Jedi Order novels I don't own. But this was them trying to under false presumptions from the Yuzhong Vong end the war, and the Jedi Order was like, they're fucking lying, and they were like, yeah, no, we need to end this fucking war. There's a lot of people dying, and Luke's like, they're fucking lying. They're like, wow, sorry, buddy. And they
Yeah,
were fucking lying.
I was gonna say, but in the end, it didn't end up passing.
Yeah, because they were fucking lying.
Spoiler alert for a literally 20-year-old book. This book came out in 2001, I'm pretty sure.
This has been Star Wars every week forever.
Jesus Christ! I just had a 2001 was 20 years ago moment.
Yeah, almost 21 years ago.
I'm fucking old.
This book's old enough to drink.
Don't give me that shit, young man.
Guys, I'm fucking old.
Book's almost
Don't give
old
me
enough
that.
to drink.
You were born in 1997.
No, I was not. I'm older than that.
When were you born, Ben?
1996.
Uh-huh. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which Ben lies about what year he was born.
I was born 1996.
Were you?
Yes, I just turned 25, Jay.
Okay.
Do your
So I was
math.
off by 1 year.
You were off by 1 year.
I was
I'm
off by
1 year
1 year.
old. See, I am old. I'm 1 year older than you thought I was.
Good night. Hey, if you enjoyed us, thought we were funny, like our content, or just really love our suffering and want to hear more of it, we're available all over the place and release episodes every Wednesday around 12 Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Player FM, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and in a unique format over on YouTube that our fans seem to dig. You can join in on the conversation over on Twitter as well, at SWEWF. We're quite active and love to hear from our fans. Sincerely, though, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us on this car crash of a ride.